Hello, this is Mark Holmes, the Senior Editorial Director of Via Satellite. I'm at Satellite 2024. It's been a great show so far, and I'm delighted to have the company of Don Claussen, the CEO of ST Engineering iDirect's. Big company in our sector, and I know you've had a huge announcement today. So tell us a little bit about this next generation platform and why this is such a big announcement for the company.
It was a big day for iDirect today. We announced our next generation platform, which you can see behind us, is named Intuition. It was a pretty good launch. We had a few hundred people there to see it. And it's really going to take us to the next level that we need to be in. We talk about multi-orbit, and we talk about 3GPP, we talk about virtualization, but I think what we really don't talk about a lot is orchestration. And once we really open up the total addressable market and we get new users in, how are we going to maintain and operate those networks? And that's what Intuition's about. It's about bringing all those things together we need: standards, virtualization, multi-orbit services, but it's really about providing a network that's aware of what's going on and can adapt and provide flexibility.
I mean, that's very interesting, because earlier today I moderated the opening general session. There was a lot of talk about the future of GEO and where it fits in this new sort of satellite world. From your perspective, and with sort of Intuition now on deck, how do you see sort of the future for GEO in this multi-orbit world?
It's really interesting. We talk about, does GEO or compete with MEO or LEO or the others? I think we're going to need all the orbits. We see aero expanding, we see maritime expanding. Land mobile is just starting. When we get hundreds and thousands of users in a region, we're not going to be able to rely on just LEO or MEO, since that's what we're all talking about. We're going to need the capacity that's provided by geostationary orbit. And the price points are coming down rapidly, which will allow these users to come in. Terminal prices are finally getting to price points that are attractive. So capacity on all orbits is going to be needed to fulfill that need.
I know when we spoke before, we spoke a lot about sort of standards and sort of the tech path that some of these companies sort of might go on in the future. How does Intuition play into that, and you know, making it easier for your customers to go to this kind of platform?
I think we have to start talking about ML, machine learning, and AI, artificial intelligence, more. They seem like buzzwords, and it seems like this nebulous thing that nobody understands. But if we don't start building that into the architecture and the operation principles, when we bring the terrestrial network in, when we're on 3 or 4 orbits, when we're bringing those thousands of users in a beam or in a geographic area I talked about, it's not going to be able to be operated. It's too much for human capacity. So it's going to bring that added layer. It's more network-centric. We don't talk about the network a lot. We talk about the space segment, ground to ground, right? We don't talk about what's behind it. That's the missing piece that it's going to bring.
Don, one question I wanted to ask you, we spoke about the GEO operators, but at the moment what we're seeing is, you know, a lot of operators looking to scale up their business plans, looking to put, you know, more assets into orbit and really attack a number of new markets, whether it's land mobility, you know, or some mobility markets, which basically means these operators are going to need to scale. How does Intuition play into and help these operators as they look to really ramp up their own activity?
I think there's 2 parts to that question that have to be answered. One is infrastructure. And that's why we all know we have to move to a virtualized model, because we're not going to be able to scale with the bespoke hardware that we've been using for decades. So we have to virtualize the environment, move it in the cloud as much as we need, so that they can expand their networks as they bring more consumers in. The second part that has to be answered is, how do you operate that network? We're going to operate at scales that we've never operated before, scales that maybe the telcos had growing pains with in the 90s. And, you know, figuring out how to bring all those users in and out of the network at the same time, and then figure out how to get their data to where it needs to go over these multi-orbits. So Intuition is going to bring that piece that provides virtualization, one, to answer the first question. And to answer the second question, it's going to provide AI and ML to help operate the network. And then there's a final thing that I think goes across both of those buckets, or answering those questions, and that's, how do you upgrade? How do you get more return on your investment? The virtualized platform helps that, but moving away from the bespoke hardware into more commoditized hardware and having iterations instead of forklift upgrades, that's what Intuition is going to bring to the table.
And what's the future look like for ST Engineering iDirect now? I mean, when we spoke before, you hinted at a big launch at Satellite this year. We've now seen that. what's sort of the path over the next 1 to 2 years?
So 2 releases coming up, 1.0 and 1.1 for Intuition, late Q3 of this year, and then Q3 of the next year, which will build upon the demonstrations we've been doing. So we have demonstrations in our stand here for virtualization, for Diffie. We're going to be doing demonstrations for 3GPP. Over the next 2 years, it's really about stepping the community as a whole through this technology because it's in its infancy, right? Some people don't believe we're going to go to standards. Some people don't know how we're going to interoperate with Leo and the closed networks. So what we're going to do is prove it over the course of the next 2 years with demonstrations. It's more of an iterative approach than a forklift upgrade.
Okay. I mean, when we spoke before, you spoke a lot about the identity of the company and an evolution of the identity of the company. I know it's not that long since we did that interview, but where are you in that process now?
I think we're complete. We are definitely one ST Engineering iDirect. I think this brand helps us push in that direction. When we did speak in Amsterdam, we talked about my world tour and visiting our customers, and they all said, okay, who are you, right? We still see 2 brands. I think we're well beyond that. We've brought in some new faces that have telco experience, bringing the telco industry into the virtualized environment, and they're really adding to what I'll call the strong foundation that iDirect already had to make sure that we progress into that next arena that we need to get to really open up the total addressable market.
I want to go back to Intuition because obviously this is the big news story. So why will your customers be excited by this? What does Intuition bring that you feel is going to sort of move the needle for the company going forward?
Sure.
Sum that up for us.
I think it's mostly operational effectiveness. Intuition means aware, right? And right now we have to be aware of what's going on in our networks. There's nobody doing analysis of patterns of life. There's nobody really looking towards where should I put my beams and when should I put them there based on those patterns of life. There's nobody looking at where is the optimal route to send my traffic. Is it terrestrial? It's very static right now. And so I think that's the piece that it's going to bring. So we're going to focus on the things that we've done well over the past 20 or 25 years, such as waveforms that are highly efficient and have maximum throughput. We're going to focus on a network management system that our customers enjoy using. But we're really going to put a lot of emphasis on the back end of the network side. How do we operate, maintain, and upgrade these networks?
And just sort of one final question. Whenever a company launches a new technology, a new product, I always like to get a forecast from sort of 12 months from now. And obviously, this is a big news story. You're one of the biggest technology companies in this sector. When we're speaking at Satellite 2025, where do you hope to be, and where do you hope to be with Intuition?
So we're going to talk about how well the release of 1.0 of Intuition went. We're going to talk about how our customers are adapting to it and how they feel about it. And we're going to talk about the proofs of concept that we're going to do. I think that's critical to the success for our industry is to step our customers, the operators, the service providers through these new technologies because we can't introduce all this change at once, right? The community can only absorb so much change at a time. So demonstration, proof of concept, lab testing, deployment. I think that's the strategy.
Well, fantastic. John, I wish you and the company all the best for the year. It's always exciting when a company like ST Engineering and iDirect brings a new platform, a new technology to market because as much as we talk about the exciting things going on in space and the thousands of satellites going up, it's companies like ST Engineering and iDirect that really are the companies that can enable these bold visions, bold business plans to take shape. So we wish you and the company all the best. It's a really exciting release and I look forward to finding out more about it over the course of the year. So thank you for your time today, Don.
Thank you as well.